In Module 4, we're going to focus on building responsibility, establishing and maintaining behavior standards. An effective teacher establishes and maintains behavior standards that match the student's development and needs. And so in this module, we're going to really look at how to establish and consistently maintain these standards for behavior that reflect the student's developmental and personal needs. In addition, we're going to address students who are off task or acting out. And finally, we're going to support students as they develop responsibility for their own behavior. It's really important to get that kind of ownership and buy-in, and at the same time maintain a set of behavior standards.
Developing standards for student behavior is a challenge for most teachers. However, establishing and maintaining these standards must be achieved in order to create an effective environment. Expectations must be age-appropriate, established early, and easy to understand and follow. If your expectations meet these criteria, it will be easier to consistently maintain them. Another way to facilitate maintaining standards of behavior is to involve your students in their creation. Involving students in classroom decision-making gives them a feeling of ownership of the classroom and a sense of responsibility for what goes on there.
In elementary school, students spend the majority of their day in one place, their classroom. It needs to be a place where they feel safe and comfortable. This means a place with clear boundaries and expectations for behavior. It is the teacher's job to create an environment in which expectations for behavior are clearly understood, easy to follow, supported by the students, and consistently enforced. It is unfair for students to be expected to follow an ever-changing set of norms. This would lead some students to feel insecure and compelled to continuously challenge the rules to see what the current boundaries are. Students would be unsure as to what their role is in the classroom community, and ultimately they might never be able to develop a responsibility for their own behavior. Since the needs and personality of every class is unique, it is effective to give students the opportunity to develop their own set of classroom norms. Oftentimes, teachers will have class meetings or discussions at the beginning of the year in order to give students time to develop the standards for the behavior they think are important for the classroom. This not only helps build student acceptance of the norms, but it also helps build a common understanding of what those norms mean. While it is important for a teacher to have a number of strategies for keeping students engaged in a lesson, perhaps the most important strategies are ones that are preventative. Seating students in appropriate places, reviewing the norms, and using eye contact, proximity, and gentle reminders to keep students focused. Ultimately, as a teacher, your goal should be to develop in students a sense of responsibility for their own behavior. This is done by making them part of the process and also teaching them the tools for making good decisions about their behavior. It is important to spend time before the school year begins thinking about standards in your classroom and preparing to work with your students to create a classroom environment in which students learn to make decisions and solve problems on their own. You want your day to be devoted to instruction. Spending time disciplining students reduces learning time. If you discuss and create expectations for behavior with your students, maintain them consistently, involve students in decision-making, and show students how to problem solve, your students will be able to avoid many conflicts and have the tools to independently solve problems when they do arise.